Good morning, my dear students. I hope you all are doing fine. So welcome to the class. In last class, we discussed about the importance of management as well as nature of management. Nature of management is nothing but whether management is art, science or profession. I hope you all have got some idea about it. In today's class, we will discuss the levels of management and also the functions of management and also a small topic on coordination and features of coordination. So let's get started. Now we will study about the levels of management. How and what types of levels are there in management? You can accept this question for 4 marks in your midterm as well as your practical oriented question. You get this question as a practical oriented, whereas I will draw a chart and explain how it is fine. So levels of management. What is levels of management? Levels of management is nothing but the universal term performed by an individual in an enterprise. So it includes and involves an individual performance. How an individual performance work in the organization to achieve his personal organizational goals and individual organizational goals. So from how an employee he gets steps on together and to achieve his personal goals. So performed by an individual in an enterprise, born together in a hierarchy. Hierarchy is nothing but ranked accordingly in responsible for successful completion of particular task. So hereas each and every organization have organizational goals, each and every company. So they have to achieve some organizational goals. For achieving that, an individual employee has to put his effort. Once he put his effort only, he can achieve something in the organizational goals, whereas it is helpful for the organization as well as the personal obligation. He can also achieve in his personal obligation, whereas an individual enterprise, performed by an individual enterprise, born together in a hierarchy. Hierarchy is nothing but ranked accordingly in responsible for completion of a particular task. For each and every particular task, they have to perform. They have to have a group coordination. They have to achieve, they have to put their creativity to achieve the organizational goals. Now I will tell you all about the practical oriented question. I will draw a chart regarding the levels of management, which will be asked for your final exam for 5 marks, that is for practical oriented question. So now we will study the functions of management. What are the functions of management? Whereas in the examination point of view, you might get this question for 8 marks. So what are the functions? What are the functions or procedures there in the management? So it is nothing but process. As I told you all while discussing the meaning of management, management is a process. So what are the process involved in it? As a great scholar known as Luther Gulick has given a key word for functions of management, whereas it is called as POSDCORB, whereas he has given a key word for function of management, that is nothing but the process of management, whereas P stands for planning, O stands for organizing, and S stands for staffing, D stands for directing, and CO stands for controlling, and R stands for reporting, and B stands for budgeting. Whereas it is widely accepted, whereas only the planning, organizing, staffing, directing and controlling are widely accepted, whereas these are the 5 things which is accepted widely. So now we will detailedly learn about what is planning, what is organizing, and what is staffing and directing and controlling. As I told you all before, it is interlinked between one and other. So it is, whereas it is interlinked between one and other, we will now detailedly learn what do you mean by planning, organizing, staffing, directing and controlling. Whereas in your next few coming chapters, you have a chapter on planning, you have a chapter on organizing, where you will detailedly learn what is planning, what are the functions, what are the importance, meaning, definition. Whereas as for the functions of management, you will just learn the meaning of planning, what is planning and what is organizing. Now we will detailedly learn one by one, so what is planning and what is organizing. So now we will study the chart showing the levels of management, whereas it is an important in the aspect of examination point of view, where you get the practical oriented question, whereas you have to draw the chart and show what it comes. So whereas top level, middle level and lower level, there are 3 levels of management, whereas first one is top level, middle level and lower level. So who all comes under top level, who all comes under middle level and who all comes under lower level, and they are interlinked between one and another person. So we will study what is top level management and who all comes under top level management in according to the management. So here top level management are known as the brain of the company. They are called as the brain of the company because they are the persons who start the organization, who run the business organization. So they are known as the brain of the company, where they only do the planning, they systematically do the planning how it has to be done. So who all comes under top level management are board of directors, that is BOD, next CEO, that is Chief Executive Officer, Chairman and President. They come under the top level management, whereas they are known as the brain of the company because they do the planning and they will plan accordingly how it has to be done. So they are known as the top level management. So next comes the middle level. Middle level management are like production manager, marketing manager, HR manager, finance manager and also sales manager. As I told you all in the before classes, there are certain divisions in the organization. There are particular divisions or groups in the organization where they have their particular task to do. Likewise, production department is there, marketing department, sales department, financial department as well as HR. HR is nothing but human resources department. So they are known as the divisional heads. For each and every group they should be having a divisional head, a head person who tells the employees to work, their group members to work. So they are known as the middle level management. They are nothing but production manager, marketing manager, HR manager, finance manager as well as sales manager. They are known as the divisional heads. So next comes the lower level management. So here you get supervisor, inspector, section officer. So here are the person, they are known as the lower level management, where they have a link between the middle level management as well as the top level management. So they should have an interlink between them because as they do the planning, that should be executed. So they have to have a good conversation or communication with the middle level management. Once they have the good communication with the middle level management, they have to guide properly to the lower level management, that is nothing but the supervisor, inspector, section officer. So lower level management is also known as operational management. So they are interlinked between one and another. Why? Because this is a practical oriented question which they ask you for 5 marks in your examination point of view. So you have to draw this chart and explain who all comes under which category. So here, as I told you all, top level comes under board of directors, CEO and the chairman and president. They are known as the brain of the company, whereas your middle level as production manager, marketing manager, HR manager and finance manager. Whereas in the lower level you will get the supervisor, inspector, section officer. So this is also known as operational management, where they do their operational management, that is nothing but their output, how the output comes. With the help of them, with the inspection of them, they will know how the output should be come. So next we will now study the functions of management. So now we will study the functions of management. What are the functions of management? Whereas in the examination point of view, you might get this question for 8 marks. So what are the functions? What are the functions or procedures there in the management? So it is nothing but process. As I told you all while discussing the meaning of management, management is a process. So what are the process involved in it? As a great scholar known as Luther Gulick has given a key word for functions of management, whereas it is called as POSDCORB, whereas he has given a key word for function of management, that is nothing but the process of management, whereas P stands for planning, O stands for organizing and S stands for staffing, D stands for directing and CO stands for controlling and R stands for reporting and B stands for budgeting. Whereas it is widely accepted, whereas only the planning, organizing, staffing, directing and controlling are widely accepted, whereas these are the 5 things which is accepted widely. So now we will detailedly learn about what is planning, what is organizing and what is staffing and directing and controlling. As I told you all before, it is interlinked between one and other. So it is, whereas it is interlinked between one and other, we will now detailedly learn what do you mean by planning, organizing, staffing, directing and controlling. Whereas in your next few coming chapters, you have a chapter on planning, you have a chapter on organizing, where you will detailedly learn what is planning, what are the functions, what are the importance, meaning, definition. Whereas as for the functions of management, you will just learn the meaning of planning, what is planning and what is organizing. Now we will detailedly learn one by one, so what is planning and what is organizing. Now we will study what is planning. So P stands for planning. So that is the first process in the management or organization. So each and every organization has to do the planning before starting and this one. So here planning, what do you mean by planning? Planning is nothing but it is planned what has to be done, who has to be done. So here the top level management, that is nothing but the board of directors, CEO, president of the organization has to do this planning in the management. So what work has to be done, who has to be done. So it is nothing but setting goals. Before doing anything, before doing any work, we have to plan accordingly. The plan has to go accordingly. So it is nothing but of setting goal to get efficiently and effectively. As I told you all while studying the meaning of management, what is efficiently and what is effectively. That is nothing but with the given time, we have to do the task with the cost minimization with the maximum output. So what all involves in planning, what all process involves in planning are formulating strategies. Strategies are nothing but strategies which they have to plan how the organization has to run. So here are formulating strategies. Policies, what are the policies involved in the organization? Each and every organization have their own policies to abide. So you will learn, you should know what are the policies they are going to follow. Whereas the procedure, how the procedure has to be done, how with the materials, raw materials, how the procedures has to be done accordingly, which department has to do what work. Next comes the rules and regulation. So each and every organization or the management have their own rules and regulation which has to be followed. So here the main work of planning is done by the top level management, whereas they are known as the board of directors, CEO, president and the chairman of the organization. Whereas even the middle level and the lower level management also has to be planned. They also can involve in the planning. They also can give their own ideas and creativities for the planning for the development of organization. The main purpose of each and every organization is to achieve organizational goals and to achieve profit, so to get profit and for the survival. So these are the main purpose for the each and every organization. So with the better planning, you can achieve the organizational goals. So here as planning is done by the top level management, whereas what has to be done, what actually the company is going through what work they have to do, who has to do that work and how they have to do that work has to be planned properly to achieve the organizational goals effectively and efficiently with the time management as well as the cost management. For formulating strategies has to be done, policies, rules and regulations has to be followed. So this is the first process or the function of management, whereas we can take of any management in any organization. So this is the first process which has to be done by each and every organization. So next we will learn what is organization. Now we studied about planning, that is the first process of management, whereas we studied what is planning, how it has to be done. So as I told you all, it is an interlink between one and another. So now we will study what is organizing. Once after the planning, how it has to be organized. That is nothing but assigning duties to the people or the employees, then grouping and task which has to be given. So once the planning is over, now the organizing process will start. Once all have been planned, that is sketched, everything which has been done, now it has to be organized in the systematic way. Likewise, how it has to be done, like assigning duties, what are the duties should be assigned to which level of management and which group of management, and as well as grouping should be done. Grouping should be done like production department, sales department, finance department. Each and every group should be done accordingly with the given task. What are the tasks which has been given to them has to be done successfully. So organizing has some process involved in it, whereas it has some process which has to be involved in it. There are identification of activities. So first and the foremost is identifying the activity, identifying what duty or what activity which has to be done. So first process of organizing is identification of activity. Next comes the classification of activity. Once the activity has been identified, next we have to do the classification. What do you mean by classification? Classifying into groups, as we all studied. So after the identification of what has to be done, what particular task has to be done, next comes the classification, how it has to be classified. So next, after that, the process is assignment of duties. So for whom and how it has to be assigned. So which group and which division has to be assigned what duty. So as production management have assigned their own duty, whereas the financial department, HR department and sales department as well as the marketing department, as they have assigned their own duty in the organized and systematic way. Once the planning is done, this process is very much important. And the last process is delegation of authority and responsibility. That is nothing but giving the responsibility to the person. As I told you, as we studied in the levels of management, how the process have been done, how the levels of management like authority and responsibility has given, like for production manager, sales manager, marketing manager. So they are given some authority as well as the delegation authority of responsibility of management, how it has to be done. It will be done accordingly processed. So after the planning, this is the main process, that is nothing but organizing is the main process activity in the function of management. That is nothing but assigning of duties, grouping and tasks, whereas the organization process involves identification of duty, activity, classification of activity, assignment of duty, delegation and process. Once the organizing is done, next process comes the staffing. S stands for staffing. Staffing is nothing but finding a right person for the right job with the particular qualification. So staffing is nothing but finding right job for the right person. So there are few functions in staffing. So they are manpower planning. So manpower planning is which they have to plan who is right for the job with the particular qualification. The next is recruitment, selection and placement. As you all have heard about these words, or it might be new for you all, once you finish your graduation, your college will have some recruitment process, whereas other companies around, in and around will come for the selection process or recruitment process in your colleges, whereas once after finishing your degree, they come for the placement, that is placement cell for your work, next process. So they do the recruitment process. So that is nothing but the interview process, where you go through your interview, where that is recruitment process, and once you are done with that, you go for your selection and then you will be placed in the organization. For example, few companies like Infosys, Wipro, these are the few companies which come to the institution, that is nothing but the colleges, and do the recruitment for the students and take their placement. So that is known as campus selection. So that is known as, that can be also called as staffing. So they will choose the right person for the right job with the creative knowledge. If you have a few creative knowledge, good skill of speaking, then only you can go for this process. So that process also involves in management. Recruitment will be done, selection will be done, and also placements also will be done according to the education, whereas education also is important, even your creativity and own knowledge and the way you exhibit your knowledge is very much important. So next comes training and development. Once after the placement is done, the next process is known as training and development. So for a particular task or particular job, you cannot do as per your wish. So they have to give some training. So if you go to any organization, once you pass out your degree and you go for any organization, immediately you cannot start your work. So 1 month or 2 months training process will be gone. So whereas they will give you the training according to the organization. So what purpose is there for the organization, according to that they give the training and development to the students. Whereas in the management process also, so how the plan has to be done, so training and development will be given to the employees to achieve the organizational goal and also the task. So next is remuneration. Remuneration is nothing but the salary given to the employees. So how it has to be given? It is depend on the training and development. Once they are okay with the training and development, once they start their work, the monthly salary or the monthly remuneration which they get is very much important in staffing. So each and every organization should focus on that, because employees are known as the asset of the organization, whereas remuneration also is very much important to regain the employees in the organization. So next comes the performance appraisal. Performance appraisal is nothing but the appreciation of work given to the employees. If the employees are doing their task well in the organization, they should be appreciated. As well as you are like students, if you all are studying well and if you get good marks in your examination, as how your parents appreciate you all to achieve more, likewise in management also appreciation is very much important. Performance appraisal. So whereas it involves the appreciation to the employees given good performance appraisal. So next comes promotion and transfer. Once the organization main task is to achieve the organizational goals as well as the individual task, whereas each and every employee has their own individual task to do. Once they have done, so they can be given promotion and transfers to improve their creativity and to improve their quality. So it is very much important. So you can relate this staffing to a banking organization, whereas the manpower planning is done in the banking organization, whereas recruitment, selection and placement also is done in the banking organization, whereas the training and development also is given there, whereas the remuneration also will be done, then performance appraisal, whereas your promotion and transfer also will be done. So you can relate this to your banking sectors, whereas that is also a management which is processing for achieve the organizational goals also. So you can relate to that. So now we are done with the planning, organizing, staffing. Now we will study what is directing and controlling. So now we studied what is planning, what is organizing and what is staffing. Once after the staffing, the next process is directing. As I told you all, it is interlinked between one and another. So next comes the process of directing. So what do you mean by directing? Directing is nothing but motivating the employees. That is nothing but influencing and motivating employees to perform the task assigned. Influence is nothing but if an individual person or employee in the organization is good at his work, which has this creativity of level. So the top level management or the production division management has to influence them to achieve the organizational goals effectively and efficiently, even the individual goals also. So directing is nothing but influencing and motivating the employees. Motivation is very much important. As coming to the part of your student level also, motivation is important, as how your teachers, parents motivate you to study. Likewise in the organization also, the employees has to be motivated by the top level management. So then only they can achieve the organizational goals with effective and efficient manner. Even it also helps in the development of our country as well as the individual goals will be achieved. So next is providing good atmosphere. That is the best, important, most in the organization. You have to provide the good atmosphere to the employees in the organization. Likewise good room facilities, likewise good canteen facilities, good internet facilities, which will be good important for them, and encourage the employees and also to give the leadership task. So this is the next process after the staffing, that is nothing but directing, by influencing the employees, motivating them, by providing them good atmosphere, as well as the encouraging employees for the and also the leadership. So once all this, whereas this all includes the employees, and this plays a very important role in the management, whereas you need to motivate your employees to do the task efficiently. So the manager work is to get the work done by the employees. So by providing them good motivation, by providing them good atmosphere, you can achieve the organizational goals as well as their personal goal, and also helps in the development of our organization as well as the country. So once after directing is done, the last process is controlling. So what do you mean by controlling here? Controlling here is nothing but measuring current performance with established standards. So you have to measure the current performance, how the performance are being done by the employees. If they measure with the established standards. Established standards are nothing but where they have done in the planning process only, how it has to be done. So it is known as established standards. So they measure the current performance, whether it is linked, whether it is going as per the planning. So there are few steps in controlling. First one is establishment of standard performance. So establishment of standard performance is already established in the process of planning itself. So it is already established how it has to be done. Standards of performance have been planned. So next process is measurement of actual performance. So you have to measure the actual performance. So whereas already your standards have been established, so you have to measure whether the proper way is going. So next comes the comparison of established performance with the actual performance. So whereas already established, the standard of performance is already established in the process of planning and measuring the present actual performance. So you have to compare both, whether it is done goingly according to the process, according to the plan which it has to be done. So next is corrective action. So if there is any mistakes or anything going wrong in the organization, they should have the corrective action. So these are the 4 steps involved in controlling. So whereas the planning is the first process of the organization, whereas it is interlinked between each and one another. So that is next comes the organizing, staffing, directing and controlling. So these are the 5 main process or functions of management to achieve the organizational goals. So once it is planned properly, once the planning is done properly, so from then as it is interlinked, so once it is done accordingly to the plan, you can achieve the organizational goals. That is nothing but the organization can achieve the organizational goals. I hope you all understood the concept. So here the functions of management will be asked for the 8 marks question, where you will have to explain till the controlling, whereas reporting and budgeting, that is interlinked with the organization only, whereas after the controlling is done, reporting has to be done, and budgeting is nothing but how they have to budget for each and every amount. So here you mainly concentrate and widely accepted by the world is till the controlling. So these are the 5 main process or the functions of management, which you are going to learn. So in detail you will learn in the next coming chapters, whereas you have a particular topic chapter on planning, organizing, directing, staffing, controlling. So whereas there you will learn the importance, functions, meaning and everything. As per now, for the functions of management, you have to learn this. So this is as an examination point of view, you will get this question for 8 marks. So next topic is coordination. So it is a small topic, whereas you learn what is coordination, meaning of coordination and the features of coordination. Now we will study the importance of coordination. So what is the meaning of coordination, definition of coordination, and also we will study the features of coordination. So coordination is nothing but the essence of management. How important a coordination for the management is very much important. So essence of it is known as the essence of management. So now we will study the meaning of coordination, which will be asked for your 2 marks question. So what is the meaning of coordination is, it is a process by which a manager synchronizes the activity of different departments. Synchronizes is nothing but getting together, coming together is known as synchronizes. So here the manager plays a very important role, as he is a main part of the organization, he will know how the process has to be done, how he has to synchronize with the different departments in the organization. So by an individual person, coordination will not be done. So it is a group activity, a group task, how each and everyone understands one another with the coordination. That is nothing but the team coordination. We call it as team coordination, how it is important. So here the meaning of coordination explains us that it is a process by which a manager synchronizes the activities of the different departments, how he synchronizes or combines together the activities of the different departments. So that is known as the coordination, which is also called as the essence of the management, which is very much important for the organization. So now we will study the definition of management, which is worldwide accepted, whereas according to Money and Riley, it is told that coordination is orderly arrangement of group effort to provide unity of action, in present of common goals. So according to them, they have explained what is coordination, they have defined what is coordination. So according to them, coordination is orderly arrangement of group effort. It is orderly arrangement of group effort. Group effort has to be done to provide unity in action. Unity is nothing but the group of action to persuade a common goal. To persuade is to achieve a common goal, as each and every organization have to achieve the organization goals, whereas it is very much important, or it is very much essential to have a coordination to achieve the organization goals. So I hope you all understood the meaning and the definition of coordination. So whereas the meaning is a process by which a manager synchronizes the group activity, that activity of a different department, where he synchronizes the different department for the achieve the organizational goals. Whereas also the definition given by Money and Riley, it explains us that coordination is the orderly arrangement of group effort to provide unity of action to pursue common goal. So each and every organization have their common goal to achieve. So it is only essential, or it is only done through coordination. So now we will study the features of coordination. Now we will study the features or characteristics of coordination. So what is coordination and what are the features involved in it? So first feature is coordination integrates group activity. Coordinate integrates group activity, which helps the activity or efforts, whereas it helps the organization to integrate the group effort. So whereas, as I told you all, there are different types of groups in the organization, it helps them to integrate to achieve the group effort. So whereas coordination is important in each and every group, whereas coming to the production, marketing, finance, each and every group has to have the proper coordination and teamwork, whereas the main feature here is to integrate, it also integrates group efforts. It helps to achieve the organization goals. So next feature is it is a continuous process. So once the coordination is good, once they achieve one organization goal, so that is not an end. So they have to plan for further thing to achieve more for the survival and to earn profit in the creative manner. So the second feature explains it is a continuous process. As I told you, it is not an one end process, it is a continuous, one after the other. With the team coordination, it helps to achieve the organizational goals. So it is a continuous process. So third point here is coordination ensures unity of action. Unity of action is nothing but group activity. So where the task is given to an individual group to achieve, so it ensures that unity of action is very much important. For example, if it is a manufacturing department, have to have a link with other department also. Likewise to finance department, marketing department also. It is a unity of action. It is a combination of action, whereas each and every group has to coordinate with one another. So then only they can achieve the organization goals. So next point is coordination is a pervasive function. Pervasive is nothing but the universal function. It is not only applicable for the production department, not only for the marketing department, it is applicable for all. So the main purpose of a manager is to get the work done by the employees. So how he has to get the work done by the employees is very much important. So it is a pervasive function where each and every individual has to get involved in that. So next feature is, it is the responsibility of all manager. All manager in sense of divisional manager, that is nothing but the production manager, marketing manager, sales manager, finance manager. So it is the responsibility of a manager to have the coordination between the employees in the organization. If the manager fails to have the coordination with the employees with the manager, then you cannot have a good successful management. Then then it will be a mess in the organization. So it is very much important that it is a responsibility. The responsibility should be taken by the manager to achieve the organizational goals. If the manager is good and friendly with the employees and he has the ability to get the work done by the employees, then only there is a good team coordination. Then only the given task will be done, and also which helps in the achieve the organizational goals, as well as it helps for the development of the individual personality as well as the country. So next point is, it is deliberate function. Deliberate function is nothing but a continuous function, a constantly function which is continuous process. So it is a function which is very much important. It is intentionally done. For example, like they have to done by the intentionally, like they have to know what work has to be done through the process. So these are the main 6 features of coordination. So coordination is a process. Okay, so coordination is a process where the manager gets the group activity done. So here is that is also known as the essence of management, and also you learn the features of management. And here ends your first chapter, that is nothing but the nature and significance of management. So in this chapter we expect 11 marks for the final examination point of view. So if you all want to score good marks, if you are aiming for the distinction, never neglect any subject, never neglect any chapter. You have to study each and every chapter, whereas one practical oriented question will be asked from this, that is nothing but the chart of levels of management. So that is very much important. So here ends your first chapter. So go through the chapter, write the questions which I have given, and study well. Have a good day.